Damn. Y'all feel that?
Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. A message to all you pseudo spitters. The sound is cool, but the trend I see is the truth is missing. I feel the flow is stupid. You claim that the music's different. I guess it's all opinion, depending on who was listening.
What's the word, y'all? It's KTR underscore podcast, hashtag KTR. We are KTR. We are finally back in the building for episode 90. Yes, episode 90 of No Roast Podcast. It's been a while, but we are back. And also, we're back. This is our 4-year anniversary in the game now. So it's been 4 years in the Roast Podcast, 4 years in the wrestling community. But also, this is episode 90. We are basically 10 episodes away from 100. Well, 9 episodes, if you give or take how you want to count it. But we are almost there to 100. We almost there. But before we dive into this episode real quick, I gotta check in with my brothers, and that is Big Harv and J-Bell himself and my brothers. How the heck are y'all feeling? Because I ain't talked to y'all in months. Where y'all been? What's the word? How y'all feeling? Tell me something new.
Man, life been lifing. I had birthdays, graduation. I had what else? Oh, I've been out of town, and that's different. And being with family and event, just being a dad, just being a wrestling fan, dad. I just been occupied. But what about you, Harv? How about you?
I ain't had nothing going on. I just be here, you know what I'm saying?
It's all J-Bo's fault. We got it. Cool.
It's clearly my fault. My bad, people.
But it's okay. We are back and we're going to be better than ever. But before we dive into this episode real quick of episode 90, y'all got to do this one simple favor for us. And please, because we need it, because we got to pump them numbers. And that is 2. Follow us on all social media platforms, KTR underscore podcast, Instagram, and TikTok, No Roast Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, No Roast Podcast, all podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, popping with everything. And don't forget to get that merch at ProWrestlingTees.com/KTR podcast. Let's get in, let's go, and let's get into this show. Should we start off right? Or should we start off heavy with this episode? Let me know what should we do.
It's been a while. Let's start off heavy.
Let's start off heavy. We're gonna go into a favorable topic, more so for Big Harv himself. We're gonna talk about a return per se, or is it a return, or is it a surprise? Something popped up recently in the wrestling world, and it appears that it is some form of a Wyatt family made their opinion. I mean, not opinion, made their appearance. Wow, I got 2 different words mixed up. But anyway, heavy. But we had some different faces pop up on our screen at the end of a Monday Night Raw. The Fireflies came out. Darkness appeared. Injuries happened. There's a lot of darkness, but something is about to come to light. And to start us off, Big Harv, tell us about what you think is to come and what do you feel will be the outcome of this new Wyatt family?
So far, the internet has taken to calling them the Wyatt Six, even though there are 5 members. Of course, the poetic meaning behind that is supposed to be the 6th member is, in fact, Bray Wyatt.
Right.
We do have some returns, of course. We also have some debuts or even semi-debuts because what's the guy's name? Dexter Lumis didn't really do much when he hit the main roster. Neither did Joe Gacy. I do think Joe Gacy has a really big upside. He's very good. He was good in NXT. So I'm expecting good things from him. Dexter Lumis is still a bit of a wild card. He has more of a presence than he has that little technicality, but that is a big thing they're going to have to weigh on or lean on with the Wyatt Six is that aura. You got to have an imposing aura. Everybody has to give some sort of intimidation. I think Dexter Lumis fits that. We also have the return of Eric Rowan, Eric Rowan, Big Red. He's wrestled in a couple different places since he left. He's tag team with Luke Harper, RIP. So he has been affiliated with Bray Wyatt since the beginning. With the original Wyatt family. It was good to see him back. We also have trying to think of her nickname.
Nikki ASH.
One that was Sarah. ASH. There it is. ASH. Yeah, Nikki Cross. All right. I feel like she's always been good. They just never really gave her the opportunity to be more than crazy. This gimmick is still going to be her being crazy, as we
Yeah.
as we can see, but it's going to give her the opportunity to do things a little bit differently. So I'm hoping that she gets more of an upside with this push as well. And then of course we got Bo Dallas, Bo Leave. It's my guy. I always enjoyed Bo Dallas. I was very upset that he didn't do bigger things than what he could have. Even with that gimmick, a lot of people didn't like it. I liked it. It was great. So I'm hoping the same that he uses this to really catapult and get back in the public eye. He hasn't really done anything since he left WWE. So as the group as a whole, I think is solid. I think that as long as they're able to keep that aura and that mystique, and that they can keep the people wanting it, they'll be okay. It's when it gets cheesy, it's when it gets repetitive, it's when it gets convoluted for no reason, like Judgment Day when Edge was cutting promos that didn't make sense. It's when you do things that are too far gone that they don't even make sense in the context of what's going on. So they got to play it safe. They got to play it close to chest. I feel like they should have some sort of presence or better presence on SmackDown this week. They didn't really do anything with them on SmackDown. They need to be more of a cross-brand thing than just situated one place until they have an actual feud that's going to happen. Right now, they just need to be a presence. They just need to pop up and cause damage. So I'm optimistic, but you can see where it could fail. But I'm choosing to look at the positives right now. I'm happy for what they're doing. It's beautiful. Make it happen.
Or looking at the positive, that is something new. All right,
rare. Rare. Yeah.
Go ahead, J-Bo.
I'm very interested in this whole gimmick. I do want to give a quick shout out to creative, whoever came up with the idea of not just the hammer that they gave to Eric Rowan, which was a nod to the Bludgeon Brothers between Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. I thought that was great. Someone else pointed out online, there was a picture of, I guess, Eric Rowan. He turned around and you could see like the back of his outfit, but on the back of his mask was actually a similar mask to what Luke Harper wore when he was with the Bludgeon Brothers. So it's just, more nods to that. So I do like how they got him involved in this as well. But me, I love the gimmick. I like how they came into it. My only concern, I do have to mention my concerns, is that there's been a lot of hype leading up to this group finally showing up. And in the WWE, when you have so much hype leading, especially that's lasted months, it can either soar and do great, or it can just fall flat. And especially with someone like Bray Wyatt, where he was a mastermind when it came to storytelling and taking the characters he'd had and running with them as far as he possibly can. So now you got this group where there's so much potential. My thing is, and Harv also mentioned it too, that you have to keep their attention with this. When they get into the ring, their characters are very gimmicky. It's very, very, very gimmicky. And that's okay. That's fine. As long as they do it properly. They still have to go in. They still got to go into the ring. They still have to have matches. Do they have to go out there and have 5-star matches? Absolutely not. Mainly because their characters can take up much of that brunt. But they still have to give enough outside of just, the dark lights and the smoke eyes of what you should expect in the ring and long term. So I'm interested to see where they're going to go with this.
Cool. Sound like a plan. I honestly don't know where this is gonna go. That's what I mean. Personally, I don't want to have a personal opinion about this because it is a little different from me. I love and respect Bray Wyatt. I'm just concerned about the group. That's the only thing. Like I'm pretty sure because the spirit of Bray Wyatt is more like going to carry this group. I'm just nervous about what it's all going to entail with them as a whole and as individuals moving forward.
There's a bunch of wild cards together.
Yeah, like it's a whole bunch of wild cards in one setting. So yeah, I respect the idea and what they're doing for Bray. It's just the execution and what's going to happen later down the line after like 6 months. It's going to be hot. Obviously, stuff is going to be hot for the first 3 months. That always happens. Longevity, consistency. That's just my whole thing about that. How their matches going to be portrayed in the future? Are they going to be like a dominant brute force, Are they actually gonna wrestle matches? Or will they eventually lose matches? Are they gonna be in like title contention for stuff here and there? Like I don't know. I don't know what the idea is for them moving forward.
That's legit concerns, man. Legit concerns. I got the same concerns.
Yeah, so it's gonna vary because with that, like I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. Like I think this right now it's just more so of a presence thing, but I don't know after that because I don't know who's going to carry that enigma of Bray Wyatt. That's just my thing personally. So it's up in there. So hopefully Crave got something up their sleeve because I'm not sure what is to come after the fact. After they
I think
make
Bo can carry it. I think Bo gonna carry it on the mic. He got that weird voice where he sounds like an old person and a young person at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
But how he gonna be as? I guess he's the Uncle
he gonna
Howdy of the
sound
group.
creepy. Yeah, I think he gonna be the mouthpiece. But
okay,
we gonna see. We gonna see. We got time.
Yeah, like I said,
if they spilled everything creative that they had on the intro, we're in trouble. So yeah,
that's the thing. It can happen.
It can. And it has.
Cool. Let's move over to another faction in the WWE, and that is the new bloodline, led by the new head of the table, Solo Sikoa. Paul Heyman's still there, but we got a lot of new faces over there now. With Jacob Fatu, he just debuted. Got Tama Tonga and what's the other Tonga name?
Tonga
Tonga
and Tonga Lower.
It's too many T's, but like I said, we got the new bloodline
here.
Yeah. So we got a lot going on now. They made their debut. We got a whole new faction in the making. I'm proud of Solo. I'll say that he's been holding it down since Roman has left, and just as a competitor too as well. I see he put on boots because I knew probably he was hurting eventually. I threw it in the chat one day. I'm like, yeah, he finally got shoes on. But other than that, I feel like he's been doing a good job as being the current leader of the bloodline. But what do you think of the bloodline right now and the future to come with them? We're gonna turn it over to you, J-Bo.
There's another one where I'm more concerned long term because first off, I want to give a shout out to Jacob Fatu. Yes, I'm biased as hell. In one night, he honestly just outshined Solo Sikoa and outshowed his dominance in just one night. But whatever, let's say we got this new bloodline with the with God, the Gorillas of Destiny, or Tama Tonga, whatever their names are now, and Solo and Jacob. Great. This is going to be a great build up to the eventual return of Roman Reigns and projected for Jimmy and Jay to finally get back together and then maybe a multi-man tag team match at Survivor Series. Great. But this was a very similar question to what we had before the bloodline finally ended. So we have this huge tribal combat Civil War match that takes place. There's going to be a lot of hype. The pop is going to be huge. Great. Then they'll probably, line up with Solo and Roman Reigns to go one-on-one. Cool. But what's after that? It seems like there's this long-going story of just the Usos, just the Samoans, just them. But outside of it, there's nowhere else they can really go with it. Obviously, we see the future with Jay and Jimmy if they get back together. Roman, he comes for the big matches and then he's gone. Jacob, I see a huge future for Jacob. But other than that, it's like I don't see them taking Solo much more seriously after the whole bloodline story. After the bloodline story. And then the tag team of Tama and Toa, they're focusing more on the tag team division, so there's that. But I don't see as much impact from them afterwards as well. So this is going to be great. This is great for the whole bloodline thing and the eventual return of Roman and everyone else. But I'm just looking long term. I'm trying to enjoy what they're giving us now, and it's great. It's going to be entertaining as hell. But afterwards, it's like, what now?
What now, Big Harv?
I agree with a lot of what you say. I've had these same gripes, especially after seeing Jacob Fatu debut. I was really hoping that he would debut separately or on the other side once Roman Reigns came back to shake things up a little bit. What I feel is that they kind of getting like lost in the shuffle of their own thing. And that's really because they're not really giving God, which I'm gonna keep calling them. I love God. I feel like they're one of the best tag teams over in New Japan. If WWE actually got behind them, they could do a lot for the tag team division, but it's up to them to get behind them. But since they've debuted, that's the biggest impact they've had is their debut. They haven't really done anything notable in the ring. Everything ends in a beatdown, so they're just two generic, like placeholders in the bloodline. They're just two bodies. I like Solo Sikoa as a wrestler, but as a leader, I don't feel like he's doing very well. Without Paul Heyman to play off of, he wouldn't really have anything. And we know Paul Heyman pretty much elevates everybody. I'm not saying he's terrible. He's not terrible on the mic at all, but he's not as intimidating or as believable as Roman Reigns was in that spot.
That's right.
And then in one night, just like J-Bo said, Jacob Fatu did Solo Sikoa better than Solo Sikoa has done Solo Sikoa since he's been there. You know what I'm saying? They're very similar, and that's going to be glaring with them in the same group, which is why I really wanted him to not debut in the group with them, because watching them on the indies, you could tell they have a similar moveset. They have the way that they carry themselves in the match, the charisma factor, they're very similar. But he's way more explosive, way more believable, in my opinion. So same thing with what J-Bo was saying. I really don't think they have a focus on the bloodline after the next little warfare that they do. We've seen offshoots of groups in the past, like DX floundered for a while, little subgroups of NWO. They do all the time. They stick around for a little while just in the mid card and then just do what they do until they fizzle out. So that's probably what's going to happen. One of the groups is going to stick around, the other one's not. And they just gonna ride it out until they can't anymore. So I'm not really. To me, the long term doesn't matter as much as far as the group goes, just as far as the talent goes. Jacob Fatu is gonna be fine. If WWE gets behind Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga, they'll be fine. Solo's not gonna make it past mid card. That's just is what it is. Eventually, the Usos gonna be tag team again. You know, there's a lot of things you can just see happening. So I'm not really as worried about that as I am about leading up to the next war that's coming.
You sure the Usos gonna get back to a tag team?
Yeah. But Jimmy's not doing anything. But Jimmy's still.
I know, but Jay, he got popular. He became a top 5 popular WWE superstar now.
It's not gonna last because his matches have been trash. It's Yeet. It's Yeet. It's Yeet. He successfully resurrected Yeet, but Yeet's not gonna stick around forever.
All you need.
They're gonna get back in the tag team eventually. They're gonna get back in the tag team.
I do have an idea of how the rest of this story is going to go, because they also signed. I can never say his name right, but yeah, right. I think what's going to happen is they're going to sign him. He's also going to join the new bloodline. And then Roman Reigns and then the Usos, they're going to come together, they're going to fight, but it's going to be like 3-on-5. But then that's when I think Jacob Fatu is going to break from the new bloodline and join Roman and them. And it's just going to be a temporary alliance because, again, as Harv mentioned, I see Jacob being a phenomenal singles competitor by himself. But I think that's what's going to happen that will eventually break them off. Because the Gorillas of Destiny and Hukaleo, I think they can do their own thing, and then I'm sorry, I just don't see where this is going to take Solo at all. I see something more for everyone else than for Solo. Yeah,
this is something. Yeah, I'm just like I said, it's a short term thing because, like I said, factions don't really last that long anyway. With that, I don't know. I ain't got nothing. I lost my train of thought, honestly. I ain't gonna lie to you. I had an answer, but it just went away. So
that's what happens when we're gone for 2 months.
I had something to say about the bloodline, but it just fizzled out somewhere in the sky. But I don't. It's Rikishi got a good, Legends deal. We just gonna say that. like how Rey Mysterio got his son in the business, he got him locked in for basically 5 years, got him a title and everything, and WrestleMania appearances, yeah, Rikishi, he working somewhere behind the scene getting everybody up in the business like this. They gonna have themselves a serious Samoan cookout once the WrestleMania season is over. Yeah, I had to throw that in there because people be using the word cookout a lot and just overusing. Yeah, that's another story. But moving on, next topic, let's talk about the beautiful Black queens of the WWE, and that is Bianca and my personal favorite, the Jade Cargill. Unfortunately, they lost their tag team titles to I can't remember their name.
Alba Fire.
Yeah.
And
Isla Dawn.
Thank you. Yeah. And obviously it was gonna happen because they're in their home country and it was a PLE, so it made sense for the home teams. Well, other than that, it seemed like they dropped the titles a little too early for our liking. Let's say that. So, what is y'all opinions about them dropping the titles, their connection right now, and possibly the future between Jade and Bianca as them as a team and individually? Take it away, Big Harv. I'd like to hear your opinion.
I was distraught when they lost because I don't think Jade is ready to be on her own. They're already having a lot of separate matches. Jade is not terrible. I feel like everything she does is going to be under a microscope because she was hyped so hard. It's going to be impossible for her to have even the slightest botch without somebody just being like, she green, she not ready. All right. When tenured cats have botches all the time and we just, I'm glad they were safe, glad they made it out all right, continue on with the match. You know what I'm saying? So keeping that in mind, I do think that it's still premature for her to go by herself. She can take it star power all day. She can take it with the power moves all day, but she's not ready for singles, for long-term singles action by herself. I don't think she's ready for that. I feel like they're already teasing the breakup between the two, and I don't think it's time. It's really, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't think it's time. She got to stand on her own 2 feet eventually. She has been wrestling for a good minute now, so it's also kind of it hurts you a little bit to still see the simple things that she's missing. She's wrestled with a lot of people that are really good and that have taught her a lot, and there's still some simple things that she needs to get down pat before she's ready.
Well, wrestling ain't easy, so like I said, it takes time, but I get it. Go ahead, J-Bo.
I would now. I've been a huge supporter of Jade Cargill since her debut match in AEW. I blasted all over social media of how much I've been in support of her. But we did talk on this show back in January when they had the Women's Royal Rumble and then she was there. We discussed that a great move for them is to pair up Bianca and Jade. And they went ahead and they went along with that. That was a terrific idea. Mainly because despite her success in AEW, WWE, I'm sorry, it's a different world. It's a different world, got different wrestling styles, and she came in with so much pressure on her, so many odds, as Harv mentioned, she's under a microscope. So if she's so much to do a clothesline wrong, yes, best believe the internet wrestling community is going to definitely point that out. However, them being tag team champions did 2 things. Number one, it kept Jade safe. Bianca can go in there and put on a wrestling clinic. You can tag Jade in. Oh, well, Jade, she's only in the ring for a little bit. Whatever. They always going to have something to complain about. But she can still go in there, do a few moves, keep the dominance going, and keep it that way. Keep that going as far as keeping her safe while keeping the eyes on her. The second thing it does is actually bring some type of prestige to the women's tag team titles. If you kept it on them, now you can build up the women's tag team division because you got 2 powerhouses, 2 dominant forces in Jade and Bianca. Heck, they can even go, I don't use they want to go against each other, but even if they're like teasing that, okay, well, they might break up, they might not, they're still a dominant tag team in the women's division. You still got eyes on the women's tag team titles. So breaking them up now and throwing them over to Isla and Alba, again, I get it, they're in their home country, but right now, so quickly, when you're still trying to build up Bianca and Jade. Yeah, it's definitely premature. So again, we know where they're going with this. It's just they didn't have to do it now. That's what we're saying. Didn't have to happen now. But yeah, I'm still going to keep my eyes on.
They'll never make me hate Jade Cargill. That's all I'm gonna say. I love that woman. I love Bianca too, but I love Jade Cargill. And like I said, it was too soon, in my opinion. They could have let them go a little bit long, like at least till SummerSlam or something like that. Or
keep them,
keep them
for a
Survivor
while.
Series. Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 months. Basically,
it's been so long. You remember they used to have people hold the tag titles and they would actually wrestle against each other on some one-off stuff. Like they could have actually had that. That's how you do it. That's how you do Jade. That would have been the smartest way to do her. They have a long reign with them tag titles that nobody cares about right now. Only cared about them because it was on them too. And then have them start beefing. You can tease the breakup. They have little matches against each other, still holding the titles. Then somebody come in, capitalize, and get them off of. Then you got two of them at the top. 2 of them already elevated. They elevated the titles on whoever got them. Now you paying attention to them. This just wasn't a smart move. I don't think that's right.
We know we're gonna turn Jade heel eventually down the road. It makes more sense to do that than Bianca. It could have been a thing like, okay, like they were kind of like the tension between them. And it was like one time Bianca come for a tag, Jade jumped off the rope and walked away. And that could have been a way to lose the title in some sort of way, in a more controversial feeling. But hey, I'm not a writer, so I don't know nothing. That's just my opinion.
No, Cinco, you're right. Like that's a very simple story, but that's all they need because they can do the rest in the ring. So you're right. You're right.
Jay will say I'm right. Write that down, Harv. We're not gonna forget this moment. June 23rd. Jay will say I was right.
Time. What time is it? Time stamp that joint.
It's 9:05 Central Time, 7:05 West Coast Time. We got it.
There we go. Sam was right.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's go to the next time. Let's talk about this these little teasers with these TNA wrestlers with NXT and vice versa with NXT on TNA. They have broken the quote unquote forbidden door. So
yeah.
So with that being said, how do you feel about these appearances with two? Let me tell you about one thing that caught me off guard. When Ethan Page popped up on NXT,
yeah,
literally saw that man 2 days ago beforehand on a wrestling indie show that was on with him. And 2 days later, the man on mainstream TV, I'm like, I just shook this man's hand in the locker room. I'm confused. What just happened that fast? Yeah, but other than that, though, like I said, this whole merger right now with NXT and TNA, hopefully down the line they get some more familiar faces that were formerly on the W roster that was TNA now onto that main stage, so it gets some wrestling here and there. That's just another story for the latter for the people that know about all the mainstream stuff. But with this, how do y'all feel about this little connection that they got right now?
I like it, but if TNA is smart, they got some kind of clause in there to where they people can't jump ship for about 2-3 years after these WWE appearances. Because we know WWE like to poach. All right. And they got the kind of money to poach. Now, when you got somebody like Joe Hendry, who I had no idea was this massively popular over there on TNA, I had no idea he was that popular.
Dude, I'll talk about it.
I knew he was popular in TNA, but I didn't know he was that popular. For him to come over and damn near match the only other high-rated WWE YouTube TikTok clip of the week, and he's from a whole other company. They gotta watch him. They gotta be careful. He might not be wrestling for too much longer. That's the only thing, But I like it. I honestly do. I wish WWE did more mergers and did more little teasers where they had talent from other places come in.
I love this. I love this whole I won't say merger, but partnership. In fact, if you would have told me 10 years ago that TNA and WWE was going to work with each other, I'll laugh in your face. Like there's no way that's going to happen. But no, I love this. Now, Harv, let me put you a little bit on game with Joe Hendry.
Yeah, put me on.
If you saw NXT and you saw a debut and you heard the crowd, if you watched the video, the crowd was so loud the camera shook. Yes. Like that's it. That's the
I had no idea.
That's the definition of the crowd erupting. Yeah, because that Joe Hendry is bigger than TNA. Joe Hendry is not just wrestling famous; he's social media famous. So if you're on like the wrestling side of TikTok, I guess you could say like his theme song has now transcended social media and it's starting to become a part of pop culture to the point where, and you can watch video, just type in Joe Hendry, whatever, and you'll see people who have no idea about wrestling, but they know his song. It is just catchy as hell. Like that's how popular he is. So when he came over to TNA, of course the crowd is just going to erupt because it's like, oh my goodness, he's finally in the WWE. Well, not in it, but he showed up. I think Joe Hendry would do terrific in the WWE. His in-ring is basic. It is, because I've been following him for a little while. His in-ring is basic, but, you know, he has the character, and obviously he has the theme song to keep the crowd interested. So that's terrific. Harv, you mentioned that you hope TNA has a clause in place. I certainly hope they do, because honestly, the only people who really wins in this situation is the WWE. Does TNA win? Sure. You know, they have their wrestlers go over and to see them pop up, but they'll go over to TNA, they'll watch for a little bit, but honestly, the fans are looking to see who else is going to show up on NXT, who else is going to show up in the WWE. One wrestler I would love to see, I don't think they'll do it, but one wrestler I would love to see show up is Moose. Moose has done terrific in TNA as world champion. I think he would definitely shine in NXT. But I for some reason, I'm telling me they're not going to let that happen. Because best believe if Moose showed up and he did his work in WWE, same thing with Jordan Grace. She's definitely going to get signed eventually. That's no question. And then even with Joe Hendry, all their big stars, they'll go to the WWE in seconds. So yeah, WWE actually benefits in this whole thing. But to sum it all, yes, I love this partnership. I love it. I love it. I love it. I think it's great.
That's it. You like it, I love it. Shout out to NXT and shout out to TNA for their connection right now. Hopefully we see some more surprises in the future. All right, cool.
You know damn well I don't be on social media. I don't know nothing about no viral songs. You ain't even have to help me like that, dog.
My bad, dog. My bad.
You ain't have to do me like that.
My bad, dog. Trying to help you out.
Cool. We got the last topic for the evening. It's gonna be real quick, just an acknowledgement. Black Wrestler Podcast put out their 6th annual BRP 50 for the year on Juneteenth. They do this every year of the top 50 Black wrestlers in the wrestling business industry, and we want to recognize who was number 1 on that list, and it was none other than Carmelo Hayes. About time. It was a long time coming. We were proud. We love him. We've been watching this man for a minute, and well deserved for him getting that number 1 ranking. How do you feel about Carmelo Hayes being ranked number 1 on the BRP 50?
Great.
You said great. You said it makes sense. Like, ain't no other thing about it. Like, it makes sense. Like, he been doing his work and he made his way to the top. Because last year he was
glad he gonna be in the Money in the Bank match. I was happy about that too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because last year he was
first real big spotlight. He having a good month.
Mm-hmm. How do you think he gonna fare for his first year in the WWE?
They spotlighting him pretty heavily. He's hit some of the heavy hitters in the game right now. He can have matches with them. He just won the little triple threat match to get on. I think he's gonna have a really good showing at Money in the Bank. So I think he should at least win a mid card.
Mm-hmm.
With the way they pushing him, they seem like they got some kind of plan for him. So at least mid card. I can see that first year.
Mm-hmm.
J-Ro?
Yeah, mid card, and shoot, if you want to be more specific, I can see obviously LA Knight taking the US title and then LA hold it for a while, and then Carmelo takes it from him. I can see that happening.
Called it. Forgot what he said. I text y'all, boy. I like LA Knight, man.
What's wrong with LA Knight?
Yeah, Goofy Keister or something he said. Get him out of here, man.
That's what the people like. They like punchlines and catchphrases.
Yeah.
Goofy Keister.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah. You'll get with the program eventually. But yeah, like I said, shout out again to
I might actually be rooting for Logan Paul. That ain't never happened in my life.
I mean, that's fine too. You drink Prime, don't you?
Hell no.
It's good.
Drink that camel piss.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. But back to the black people. Like I said, big shout out to Black Wrestling Podcast for that BRP 50, and also a big shout out to everybody else that assisted with it, and also another shout out to our brother, my brother, rest in power, Trey from We Love Wrestling. Love you and miss you. Like I said, and haven't done the show since his passing. Now that also played a reason to this hiatus as well. Just wasn't feeling it at the moment, but we're back and gonna do it for him and keep it going. But until then, that's all the time we have for the day for KTR Know the Ropes Podcast of episode 90. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for supporting, because like I said, without y'all, there would not be no KTR. But until then, do some favors and follow us on all social media platforms: KTR_podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. No Ropes Podcast, Facebook, YouTube. No Ropes Podcast on all podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, on everything. And don't forget to get that merch at ProWrestlingTees.com/KTR Podcast. Let's go. Let's get off this show. This is episode 99.0 of No Ropes Podcast. Hashtag KTR, and we are out. Y'all point the right way. Cool.
You.
Tell them what they should do, Big Harv.
Please. They ain't too proud to beg. We've been gone too much. All right, we back. We're gonna be more consistent. We promise. Just
don't do that. Please. Last time we did that. So
please bump them numbers, please.
Yeah.
Look, no. See, he ruined it.
That don't compute in my mind, I must be out of mind. Black fist high, rally up before we out of time.